Hey, this is Charles 9mm, and I've got a great product to show you today. Over the years, I've done a lot of reviews on Stoner holsters. I love Stoner holsters, can't say enough good things about them. And today, this is a very special holster. You can probably see that I'm wearing a shoulder holster. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Now, just for the setup, I want to tell you I'm using a Rings Blue Gun, which is a very good dimensionally accurate representation of the snub nose revolver. I really like the Rings Blue Guns because they do provide you with really safe ability to practice gun handling in your house without much danger. I always believe that you should handle any gun, even a Rings Blue Gun, carefully because it's really good discipline. Now, let's get back to the holster. The holster is a shoulder holster, obviously, and there's a lot of people that kind of speak poorly nowadays of shoulder holsters. And if you are standing up or you are a police officer on duty, yeah, it's best to have it as close to the hip as possible. A drop leg is probably best because it's easy to get to. But we have a driving society. So most people are not walking down the street unless you live in a big city. But most people don't. Most people are driving in their car. And this creates a special situation. One is that if you have any kind of a belly and you're wearing an appendix in the waistband, it's going to be very difficult, even outside as well. Plus, you have to have the garments for it behind the hip because the car seat will get in the way. That can be difficult as well, especially in a carjacking situation. So the shoulder holster is great. It's also great for pilots, and I know that the military still uses, in some cases, shoulder holsters for their pilots. This is terrific for any kind of a seated position. And it does have its drawbacks, but it takes a little more practice and so forth to learn to deal with it, and especially to learn to adjust it, because there's a lot of adjustment that has to be made, and you have to be patient with it. If you buy it and just throw it on, it's really not going to work for you. You have to sit down, and I'll show you a little bit of that in a minute. Now, for me, this is a replica of a Smith & Wesson J-frame, which I like very much. The application of a J-frame, and if I may digress for a moment, is really interesting because a lot of people speak of it as an outdated design, and everybody should get, a plastic, 9mm or SIG 357 or a 40 cal. But under certain circumstances, the snub nose revolver, it really does excel, and it doesn't have the capacity. And if you're in a situation where you need a lot of capacity, yeah, it's definitely a police officer or whatever. You wouldn't want to carry the snub as your base weapon, as your primary weapon, but you might want to consider one as a backup, because in extreme close quarter combat, there's nothing that beats a snubby, because you really can't foul the slide and can be pressed against the intended target and actually touching it without fear of fouling it, because pushing back the slide and taking the automatic out of battery. So there is definitely some really good application for it, including its size and weight. And a J-frame air weight is extremely light and small for the amount of caliber that's there, the power of the bullet. So there is a very, very powerful ammunition that can be put into it, and quite effective. And it was used for a long, long time, for many decades, before automatics were more common. So, my dog. So that's why I just wanted to throw that in, because a lot of people are going to say, why are you using a revolver? I have other firearms. I just happen to really like the revolver, and depending on the situation, it may be a primary or a backup. Now, back to the Stoner holster. Stoner holsters have a lot of adjustments, and I'm a very small person. It probably doesn't show, but I'm not very tall and I don't weigh very much. And so there's a lot, I have to really move the straps a lot to when I do my initial adjustment to get it to fit, because it's made somewhat universal, so there's a lot of adjustments for different body sizes, and any size body you are, these probably will work. And if you're a normal sized person and not small like me, that you probably have to do less adjustment. Now, you will have to be very, very patient in the process when you get a shoulder holster, and you will have to sit down with a screwdriver, move the Chicago screws up and down, and move the straps and adjust them to get it just right. And I recommend that you take the time to do that. Do not rush that process. Make sure that you get it really well adjusted and comfortable, and you should be able to wear it all day. Now, I own several shoulder holsters, and this is probably the most comfortable one I've ever worn. I've had them over the years. Some I've sold, some I've kept. This is probably the best, one of the best, if not the best, and I'll show you a couple reasons why. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and remove it so you can see some of the workmanship. The workmanship is just excellent. There's excellent stitching, heavy duty hardware. Sometimes you'll see very thin hardware on some, but this is excellent. The very thick, heavy, stiff, good quality leather. It's really got a good retention strap on it. This one, you actually click it rather than on the top. With an automatic, it's actually down underneath the trigger guard. So even if it is a bobbed hammer like this one here, you still can use it. So any J-frame will fit into it, and of course they do make them for automatics, so don't worry about that. If you're not interested in a J-frame, just follow along for the sake of the holster. It's got the cross back. This should set in the center of your back. It should be comfortable. It should not be pulled to either side. You're going to have to be very uncomfortable. Make sure that when you adjust it, that this is the first thing you do, is make sure this is centered, and make sure all the screws, the Chicago screws, are tightened down. Now, it also has a mag pouch. The mag pouch or speed loader pouch, depending. Now I have a revolver, so it's a speed loader pouch. Depending on the methodology that you've been taught to reload, the snaps go in either direction. You can either pull it from the back, or you can pull it from the front if you do the hand change methodology. Now I've got speed loaders in here. You just pop them out, and away you go. Very nice, heavy duty, beautiful polished edges on this. This is really nice. And you'll notice that this is all modular. These are snaps that hold the module. If you want to put something else in here, maybe you want to put another holster, you'll have to talk to Stoner Holsters. They've got some things that they can change around, and you can get different modules, or even change out holsters. If you sell a gun, but you want to carry another gun, but you want to keep your rig, you can use the rig just by the holster part of it. Now, there's something unique about the Stoner holster. There's an option that you can get, which I did, which is the back strap. This is the strap that goes along your back, and I'll put it back on so you can see it. But this is a game changer. This really is a terrific accessory, because it makes a strap go across like a brassiere strap, and it holds the gun in place. It holds the holster in place, and it locks it down under your arm, so it's not swinging back and forth. Most guns, holsters, and some people prefer it, but some shoulder rigs will have an attachment, and they have an attachment here where you can snap that, where you can anchor it to your belt. Now, why didn't I get the one with the belt anchor? The reason why is because I didn't want to, I wanted to be able to wear my shirt tail out, or not have to unsnap it if I needed to use restroom. Yeah, that's something you have to consider. I know it's probably not the topic we all want to think about, but when you go to the restroom and you have to unsnap or unhook the belt anchors, That's uncomfortable. I've even have some that have detachable pieces to do that, and you have to stick them in your pocket, and then you do your business, and then you put it all together. You don't have to here. The other thing is that back strap, which I'll turn around so you can see the back strap. The back strap anchors it, so you don't get that movement, and when you pull the firearm, it doesn't bring the holster with it. So you get a good clean break when you pull the firearm from the holster. This is terrific, and the workmanship on this is excellent. This is really some old-time workmanship, and I'm surprised at the price. The price is really good as well for this, because obviously they're not cheap. They're all leather, but you really get a lot for your money on this. And that strap is removable if you decide you want to anchor it. If you've got a really heavy gun, you're carrying a 1911 or something, and you really feel better, or you need something to keep your pants up. This is also really good for people who have hip issues, and it's also for people who are real big guys that carrying anything on your waist is very uncomfortable. You may want to consider a shoulder holster. So revolvers now are not out of style, and shoulder holsters are still in the game, and I think Stoner has made one of the best, if not the best, shoulder holster out there. It's really terrific. It is very stiff when you get it. You have to put your firearm in it, carry it around in the house for a few days here and there until you break it in, but it's extremely comfortable. I don't even hardly notice it, which is really nice because I can just wear it. Now, of course, with a shoulder holster, you got to have some kind of cover garment, but when not having to tuck your shirt in because of the back strap, it's easier to wear under a shirt that's untucked or looser or whatever, or under a sweatshirt with just a t-shirt under it. You can easily make it work. So it really changes this whole game. I've actually never seen the back strap before, and I was very impressed with how it works. It's amazing because I think it's really changed the world of shoulder holsters. Stoner holsters, great people, family owned. I think you're going to love it. Check my other Stoner holster videos out. I think you'll really like it. And I'm not affiliated with them. I just think they make a terrific product. And don't forget the Rings Blue Gun for practice. And you should practice it many times drawing from it. The other thing, before I go, a lot of people will say when you pull from this position, you are flagging your arm and anyone who's in this position over here. Very important with the shoulder holster. Very important to have really good trigger finger discipline. This is extremely important. I know this video is getting long, but I really, really emphasize that you need to have good trigger discipline. Get your finger off the trigger. The other way is to draw from a shoulder holster. You're going to wing this arm up and pull it out. Do not flag your arm. You don't want to shoot your arm. So there are some things you really have to learn. It's not not for the beginner. Just throw it in there and go down the street. You need to really, really learn how to use it, how to adjust it, and really break it in and learn to use it safely. I think you're going to love it. If you like these sorts of things, if you're a pilot or you drive a lot, I think you're going to love Stoner holster shoulder holsters. Thanks for sitting through this long video. I really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.